Tonight on a Rebels Cause Radio, what is life? We're going to talk about it.
You're going to come into opportunity that will boggle your mind. You're going to see your career take off like a rocket. You're going to meet the right people that will help further your dreams. You're going to accomplish goals much quicker than you imagined. You're going to come out of debt and pay that house off even though it looked impossible. You're going to get well even though the medical report says there's no way.
Now let me talk to the young people here. You are prey, P-R-E-Y, for these churches. Brand new believers, pray for these churches, P-R-E-Y. It's sexy, it's cool, Calvinism, man. Because I got God in the box.
When Christ died on the cross, paying the price for us, pleading obedience for us, bearing wrath for us, absorbing sin for us, he decisively accomplished that for his own, his sheep, his elect. He decisively accomplished it. He didn't just make it accomplishable. He did it.
No ball or chain, no prison shall keep the rebels out of sea.
Welcome to A Rebels Cause Radio, the show where we ask questions, find answers, and make fun of Joel Osteen. And now, here is that rebel who has a cause. I'm not sure what that cause is, but he says he has one. The tattooed freak of a man, your host, Dan.
What happened to our nice video? I'm not sure I'm going to keep this shirt on the whole time.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll put it. Oh, now we're back. Well, now we're back. You kind of jolted me out of the break and then jolted me back in it. I am Dan Fry, and this is a Rebels Cause Radio. I'm one of the hosts here on the show. Joining me in our studio, we have the bullpen, and it's full tonight. We're only missing one guy. Sam Hall has returned stateside. He will be back, I believe, next week. So we're going to have 5 people in studio, which is going to be busy, busy, busy. Let me get through the introductions, and then we're going to start talking about tonight's topic. With me, as always, my Judas of a friend, John.
The Puritan nerd.
Yeah, whatever he wants to call himself. We'll let him get away with that. We got Misai Piston Honda Kandara, and we have Luke Seelman.
Good evening.
Also joining us in the production booth, the guy that makes this possible, the guy that everything you see here that's done well, Ryan does, and if it's done poorly, it is solely because he wasn't presented with the appropriate technology.
Or I just failed.
Nah, you don't fail. Ryan does a great job, so we want to make sure we include Ryan and thanking him for all his hard work he does here at Rebels Cause. Have you guys watched the news?
Not really.
Yeah. You?
I don't watch news. I get it online.
Does the name Todd Aiken mean anything to any one of you guys?
Yes, I did read that.
No.
No.
Would you explain?
Luke, you're the only one that I think probably actually knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. Well, this week, and I'm not a big political guy, and we're not going to attack this from
let's not get carried away. You are a political guy, just not on here.
No, I've got ideas. I don't really want to talk about politics. How about that? Let's be fair here.
There you go.
So we got this guy, this Todd Aiken. He's a senator. Is that right, Senator Todd Aiken?
Yep, from Missouri.
Missouri. Ooh.
Missouri.
You know, and Missouri is known for a lot of intelligent things. And well, we're from Iowa. It's a joke. You got to be from Iowa, I guess.
Misery is what we call it.
Yeah.
Missouri loves company.
Yeah. Well, you know how... you know why they banned the wave in Missouri, right?
Why?
You know, the wave you do at the stadium?
Right.
A bunch of them drown.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have
Where's
no
the
listeners
rim shot,
in
Ryan?
Missouri.
Yeah, well, if we did, we just lost them
all,
which is
all
okay.
one of them.
We got this guy. He comes on a national talk show, and he uses an unfortunate phrase. And so we're gonna talk about both the phrase he used for a little bit, because I don't want. That's really the political side of it. We'll discuss a little bit of the fallout. But it brings up an interesting subject, and it's one we haven't really discussed here in the form of a whole episode or dedicated any real time to it, and that's life. So we've got something for you today. We've got a 4D ultrasound provided to us by Informed Choices of Iowa. Sweet. That they use as some of their training stuff and some of their, so this would be pretty awesome. We're going to watch that, and we're going to talk about what it means to be alive. I'm going to try to quit doing the shifty eyes you see me doing every weekend. I'm sorry. We want to let you know that you can listen to us on Mixlr.com if you're not able to sit around your television screen or computer screen. Mine's a TV.
Those guys have a app out or not?
Well, it's not an app. It's a website. It works for iPhones, so iPhones and Androids can go to it. If you have an Android, you're going to want to go ahead and enable plugins. That's the only catch with the Android.
That's why you should just have an Apple.
Well, I'm not a big Apple fan. They're working on Android. We're also working on other solutions here. But for right now, this is what we're going to do. It's mixlr.com/webcast-1-live. And we'll have some more information periodically. And that's just an audio-only stream of the live program. So it's not pre-recorded or stuff like that. For pre-recorded stuff, iTunes, we have our last 10 episodes on iTunes. That'll be constant. We're going to try to actually expand our library so we have all our episodes at some point, but that takes a little bit of time, I understand.
Well, once I get my Mac back from the shop and get the episodes on like a DVD disc, I can start putting those up.
And that's you probably need, we're dependent on other people here. So we'll get that done as soon as possible. We also have our back episodes for video on YouTube now. You can still, of course, go to Livestream or Ustream and search us out on the Webcast One platform. We are powered by Webcast One, and we're sponsored by them. We're not trying to get away from them. It's just the analytics are right there. You can see who's watching them. Last week, we had a guy named Cy Timbrugenkate on.
That was awesome.
Not only was it a good episode, but we normally get like 10 views on our YouTube because most of the stuff's still filtering through Ustream and Livestream, and so the bulk of it, we get about 2,500 listeners per show. I'm told. I don't know how much of that is as actual as the YouTube count. We have 360 something listens to that episode alone.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe it's, I don't know. I'll get the exact number, but it's over 300. So that was really encouraging for us. We're going to have Cy on because we got some questions still. We're going to play a little bit of devil's advocate. So hopefully tonight he's got a meeting. He's going to try to Skype or call in. That's going to happen. But right now we're going to look at this the senator's statements, and then we're going to start talking about it. If you want to join the conversation, tonight is a great night. We haven't discussed the issue beforehand. This is all going to be live and raw for you. None of us have talked about it.
He didn't prep us for once.
Yeah.
This episode has been one of the ones that we've been least prepared for.
Yeah, it's not that I wasn't prepared, it's that I didn't communicate.
Well, you were prepared.
Yeah, I'm prepared. So what we've done is we want you guys to call in, and that's 1-855-244-0077, and let us know what you think. But let's watch this video first. Ryan, if you can throw it to the video now, that'd be great.
Do you want me to start like a minute in or at the beginning?
It is at where it needs to be. So just full screen it and push play.
If an abortion could be considered in a case of, say, a tubal pregnancy or something like that, what about in the case of rape? Should it be legal or not?
Well, people always want to try and make that as one of those things. Well, how do you slice this particularly tough sort of ethical question? It seems to me, first of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down. But let's assume that maybe that didn't work or something.
Okay. What he said is in the case of the legitimate rape, the female body has ways of shutting that down.
I'm not sure if that's medically accurate.
No, it's not. Not as far as I can tell. Now, there's something else he said there that seems to be offending a lot of people. Legitimate rape.
Mm-hmm. Right.
John and I both know a rape victim that has a child.
Not the same one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes. We both know.
We both know that one.
Same one.
I know two then.
Yeah, well, you might know too. So we know that that's not necessarily accurate, and I can imagine they're offended by this language. What's happened, though, I think is just out of line, and that's when they've been calling for this guy, both from the Republican and the Democratic parties, to shut him down, right? It's just been... It's been a huge fallout. You know, they're talking about deadlines to do so, and he made an apology video. We'll play that after a break or two. You know, I accept his apology, but I'm not a rape victim, so I don't know how genuine that is.
Correct.
But let's talk about this though. In the case of rape, is abortion okay?
I think that's people treat that as a very complicated issue, and I think that in the one sense,
don't kill the whole thing. Just short answer, yes or no.
The short answer is no, it's not okay.
Cy?
I was going to go in depth, but I'll say no.
Well, we'll go in depth in a minute.
Yeah.
Luke?
No.
I'm going to say no. Ryan?
I haven't been listening. I've been dealing with something.
In the case of rape,
I agree with you guys.
Wait. In the case of rape, is it okay to abort the kid?
No.
Okay. So we've got a consensus here. We're all pretty moral thing.
But we're all guys, too.
Yeah, well,
I just got into a discussion last week with my wife on this. And so just like what you had said, we're all men here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has something very, very large to do with such a quick answer.
For me, it doesn't.
Well,
wait a second here. But hold on. This is why, if this is where life comes in. If it's a life, why is it a man-woman thing? Now, I understand their body has to go through the trauma. I understand that they have to deal with an emotional pain I'll never understand. That they have to deal with a physical pain I'll never understand. That they have 9 months for this to kind of well up in their body, and lots of damage emotionally and physically, potentially done, probably done in most cases, on top of the damaging effects of rape, both physically and mentally. I get that, and that sucks. I don't know how else to say it. You know, that is a horrible, awful thing to happen to a woman. It is absolutely terrible. But my answer's not quick because of that. Because on the surface, actually, to me, I'm like, well, that makes sense. You know, let them take care of that one because it's not really their fault. And that I actually probably would have answered that question years ago. That's not. I'm not going to hang my hat on that. In fact, I heard Tom Coates today say he a long time ago decided he wouldn't contest that. But that's not really morally honest.
Well, what it is it's punishing the innocent party for the crime of the guilty party.
It takes one victim and it makes two.
Well, and it makes a criminal out of the victim.
Yeah, and then it takes the innocence away from victim number one.
Right.
Well, yeah, I had a quick answer because I've had time to talk about it and think about it and pray upon it, but it still is even if you're not a believer, you understand that two wrongs don't make a right, and that's the gist of the problem there. You're still killing an innocent life just for the sake of choice. It's a choice.
Right.
Because I choose not to have that pain.
Well, it's still a baby being killed.
Yeah.
For convenience. The thing I would raise up, the biggest concern I would have if a woman would try to argue this is, I got stuff on my beard. Stupid beard.
I was trying to tell you.
It's all right. I don't care.
From behind the scenes.
It's all right.
On that note.
Yeah, that's a great break.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think there's a good defense for this. You know what I mean? Like, we'll talk about it after the break. Guys, this is a Rebels Cause Radio. Thank you so much for listening. Please take a chance to listen to our sponsors, and we'll see you just after a few minutes here.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought Couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager.
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed rider it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me. But is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed rider, it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt Rebels Cause Radio to bring you a moment of enlightenment with my uncle, the devil known as Screwtape.
My dear Wormwood, I note what you say about guiding your patient's reading and taking care that he sees a good deal of his materialist friend. But are you not being a trifle naive? It sounds as if you supposed that argument was the way to keep him out of the enemy's clutches. That might have been so if he had lived a few centuries earlier. At that time, the humans still knew pretty well when a thing was proved and when it was not. And if it was proved, they really believed it. They still connected thinking with doing and were prepared to alter their way of life as a result of a chain of reasoning. But what with the weekly press and other such weapons, we have largely altered that. Your man has been accustomed, ever since he was a boy, to have a dozen incompatible philosophies dancing about together inside his head. He doesn't think of doctrines as primarily true or false, but as academic or as practical or as outworn or contemporary, covenantal or ruthless. Jargon, not argument, is your best ally in keeping him from the church. Don't waste time trying to make him think that materialism is true. Make him think it is strong or stark or courageous. That is the philosophy of the future. That's the sort of thing he cares about.
And now, back to a Rebels Cause Radio with that host, Dan Fry.
Yeah,
That
now
was
that
way
I
too
get
long.
introduced by a demon, that's pretty awesome. That was a little clip from Screw Tape Letters. It went on frightfully too long, I'm told.
We'll have to edit that for next week.
We'll have to play that at 2x.
Yeah, that was no, I had to slow it down to get the voices. That's all me.
Right, 2x changes the pitch, or the tempo, not the pitch.
Yeah, well,
Gosh, you're so smart, John.
I know John's
You know, I
genius.
listen to our own podcast at 2x.
I kind of got cut off with the music, and we were trying to clean the Red Bull out of my beard. So I think I stopped at the word convenience, and somebody's lady friend heard that I thought that abortion in the case of rape was an abortion of convenience. I certainly don't think it's an abortion of convenience. I still think that it's making two victims. I don't think it's going to save, and this is where I was going, I don't think it's going to save you any emotional pain from the rape, because now you have the sin of abortion. I think that's a big deal. I don't want to placate that or put that down. And part of that is I want to play a video now of an ultrasound. I want you to think about what makes up a baby and when it's a baby. And, there's some discussion about the morning after pills. We're not women. I'm not an expert on birth control or the morning after pills. I know there are some that are very bad. I know that there's one that's basically a double up of birth control. I don't know enough about that to have a good statement about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say, oh, it's okay, and it not be. I don't want to say it's not okay and it to be okay, so I'm just going to be silent there. I'm aware of some controversy there that's open for discussion. That needs a medical expert.
Just keep talking.
Yeah.
I'll get it back up.
What went down? Oh, I don't care about the video.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about video
Not really.
anyway.
Well,
Just
except
keep
we're about
talking.
ready to show an ultrasound, so video is important.
Well, that's true. We'll that's bring it back up. Did we lose the TriCaster here?
No, it's just the program. The computer's still up.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, now I'm at Mike Ahmed's studio. We've
Now we're back.
Look at that. It's teleporting. I was at one studio.
It's amazing.
And then I was at another. Green screen's amazing. So, I mean, I don't want to offend anybody purposefully, but I do want to talk about what constitutes his life. I mean, this is something that's pretty important. Now, I will raise up that one of the gals that John and I know that was raped and has a kid has a wonderful daughter.
Oh, it's such a blessing to their family.
And it's well loved, and it's not a reminder of the rape. It's the thing that it's the good thing that came out of it.
I was gonna say you keep calling the child an it. I'm like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, you're right. You know what though? I call you an it sometimes. So.
Well, that's a little more appropriate.
And the reason I consciously
no, that's a good reason. I understand, because some people are like, oh, if you call it an it, you're taking away the humanity from
and that's
from the baby.
That's what the pro-choice side does.
Yeah, it's more than
humanity.
Yeah, but see, they're taking words that are acceptable and they're making them hot button words. I refuse to allow that here.
Mm-hmm.
When I say it, I mean the baby, and by baby I mean a human child, and so life's valuable, and we're going to talk about it. Ryan, are you ready with that video?
Yeah, I'll get it up.
All right.
If the computer crashes again, we need to
Don't worry about
lay
that.
hands on it.
I had it up.
I have a lady friend that texted me, and she brought up. She's in the medical field, and she brought up the abortion pill.
Yeah.
So if she would love to call in.
Yeah. And that's fine. I'm willing to have somebody call in and kind of educate us about it. So 1-855-244-0077. The problem is it's not really a good discussion for us. That is not the video. Because we don't, having one person's word, or, I'm not willing to make life and death decisions off of somebody calling in. And so, it looks like we're not going to get that video right now. I'm not really sure what's happening there.
Is this it?
Yeah, I hear it.
I hear it, but I don't see it.
Wait.
What's happening?
I don't know. I think it's the TriCaster.
All right, we'll just pull it down, and we'll do it later. You can hear the heartbeat, though.
Yeah.
The heartbeat's there within like
5 weeks.
5 weeks, which for people that don't have kids,
it usually takes 4 to even realize you're pregnant.
Yeah, well, and it's not from date of conception. It's from the start of the cycle. So if you conceived on one of the last days of your cycle, it could be as little as 2 weeks in, and you could hear a heartbeat. It's got a heartbeat. You know anything that's not alive that has a heartbeat? Except for a baby, apparently. That's where I come down to. It's got a heartbeat. It's not a clump of cells. It's growing and changing.
I don't think that is the argument, though.
What's the argument?
The argument is they think they should have the choice. I don't think it's the argument.
Well, but see, I'm not trying to talk about abortion. I'm trying to talk about what is life.
Okay.
And the choice to do what, Luke?
Yeah.
Brought it up. So.
Well, but the choice to murder, that's not a choice at all. God says do not murder.
Correct.
Okay. So heartbeat, it's life, right? We would all agree
So then if it has a heartbeat, so how about from week 1, 2, then is that murder? Since it doesn't have a heartbeat.
It still cells reproducing.
Yeah,
it's still a human.
It's working towards that.
If I want to intrude, I define life in the Bible. It talks about different ways what defines life, and I think there's 2 things. The soul, which we can't measure, and another thing is if it has blood, which is what you're saying. Heart beating. If it has blood pumping, then it's alive.
Where do you see that in the Bible?
I just remember that. I could try and pull it up on my phone.
Yeah, why don't you try to pull that up? That'd be an interesting.
Are you talking about the life is in the blood?
I have no idea. I just remember that.
Leviticus, I think.
That's it's in the Pentateuch for sure.
So
I'll try and find it, guys.
Yeah, that would be interesting. So there's my defense for it. Is by the time you would be able to go in for an abortion, chances are it'd have a heartbeat. Morning after pill. Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, because even after you do that, you don't even know if you are actually.
Yeah, there's some ignorance is bliss there, but I don't know. That
blissfully ignorant murder.
Yeah, I don't know that that's an excuse. I was trying to pick up the phone; it was ringing. Yeah, I don't know that that's a good excuse.
Looks like we have a call.
Yep, that's a friend of mine.
Oh, you're behind this?
Yeah. What is with all this backroom chatter? You guys are just horrible tonight. Let's just talk about what goes on behind the scenes. Okay, let's talk about it over here. We're on the radio.
Oh, you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was practice.
Well, no, we've been on for half an hour. It's amazing.
Oh, okay.
Are we coming up on our break?
No.
Okay.
Who do we got on here, Ryan?
She said her name was Andrea, I believe.
Okay. All right. I don't have my Comrex brought up here. Here.
Okay, I'll get her on.
I got it. Never mind.
Nope, it's on.
Oh. Hey, Andrea. This is Dan. How you doing?
Hi, Dan. Now, I gotta get this straight. What's the exact topic about? Is it...
The exact topic is what is life. We're trying to define when life begins in the womb.
How did that get... I was under the impression that the topic was about the rape and abortion.
Well,
did it get sidetracked from that?
No, we started with we kind of segued in the news. There's that Senator Todd Akin with his comments about legitimate rape and stuff like that.
And how do you guys feel about that?
Well, we're not really political guys. We like to think from a different worldview. I'm not sure I like it personally. I'll tell you. I think that I think it was offensive.
Oh, I thought it was so offended and so offensive with that, and I think that it demeans any side that you take in regards to the beginnings of a life.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't really think that you can use words like legitimate rape in a kind way, especially when you're talking about rape victims, and have that construed as anything other than offensive.
Exactly.
I think he chose his words really poorly, and I think what it did is it undermined a position that I think is very solid, using bad medical knowledge.
Yeah, horrible medical knowledge.
A misstatement there, something inaccurate, and then the language was real put offish. Now, I actually agree with the guy in this position, but I think he just kind of gave the position a black eye in the way he presented it.
You agree with the guy in his position?
Well, I guess what John's trying to say, and I'll also affirm it, I think that abortion in the case of rape is wrong.
See, I'd have to disagree with you, and I don't know if you've gotten many female feedback, but I think that is so. I think on the basis of that is so wrong.
Well,
I find it interesting that it comes from men mainly.
I'm going to find it interesting that it matters whether it comes from a man or life, that life would be protected. Or man or woman. I don't know that this is a man or a woman issue. It's whether it's a life or not. If we kill a baby because it belonged to a rape victim, didn't we just make two victims?
You have to look at the life that child will lead.
That assumes that just assumes a ton.
Yeah, there's adoption, and there's the person can parent it. There's a lot of good options. It's not like we have a shortage of people looking to adopt babies.
And I know someone that has who was a rape baby who is living a very productive and happy life. But even if he wasn't, that's pragmatism. That kind of ends justify the means. And the question is whether we can ever condone a murder to begin with, the pragmatism aside.
Oh, I guess my basis is, and where I come from is I am pro-choice, and so that's my basis with that. So I don't know that we can find any terms to agree on with that. But
and that's at least honest.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that. Sai said you had some knowledge about the birth control pills.
The birth control, the morning after pills. Morning after pills.
Now, I know there's two different ones. Are you aware that there's two different ones?
I think I've heard of it. I don't specialize in it or anything, but I didn't know there were two different kinds.
Can you explain to us which birth control you know about and what it does, I guess, then? And this is an honest ask. It's me being honest asking for information about it. This is a subject I am notably ignorant of.
Oh, I believe it's just and I don't know if it's a hormone, but the purpose of the pill is so the woman can shed her entire, from my understanding, it shed the entire uterine lining, so the egg
cannot attach.
Yeah. Right, okay. Right. Or if it is attached,
it sheds the lining.
It sheds, yeah. And to me, that's not considered a murder. It's not considered abortion. To me, life doesn't begin unless it can live outside of the womb. That's just my viewpoint of it, and I'm sure that there's no middle ground here, and that's why there's
no middle ground.
Yeah, we're not going to find middle ground there.
Yeah.
No.
And that's when I say that's okay, I don't mean that I think that I could agree with you on any stance there at all.
We appreciate your honesty. We appreciate your transparency, but no, you wouldn't find a sympathetic voice in this room.
No, I don't want a sympathetic voice. That's my opinion, and you guys have your opinion.
Sure.
What I'm wondering is what do you guys want? You just want opinions for people to call in and agree with what you're saying?
No.
I'm not trying to
We're enjoying you not agreeing. I don't want people simply to agree with us for the sake of agreeing. We don't want yes men or yes women in your case.
Mm-hmm. But if your basis is you want people to give opinions on when does life begin, then you're not really asking if you have an opinion that you believe is firmly right. Does that make sense?
Well, we do believe in an objective standard of right and wrong, and we believe that it's the Bible.
So the four guys sitting in this room all believe that life is created by God, and we have no choice to take or end that life because God is the one who created it, is the way all four of us view that opinion.
Well, why do you want another opinion then?
We need it from another viewpoint, because this is, as you listen on, Andrea, you're like, these are four guys, and that's their opinion. Well, we have female listeners who need to have a female voice on too.
Perhaps a better way to put it is we weren't necessarily looking for someone to disagree with us. It's that people who disagree with us are welcome to call in. So we weren't soliciting an opposing view, but opposing views are welcome.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't know that was my misunderstanding. I thought you wanted to maybe hear from on the other side. And I just think if you were specific on the fact of it being a rape, a victim of a rape being forced to carry that baby to term, and then have to deal with the emotional meltdown after the birth, and whether you're giving up for adoption or you're raising on your own, I just think that's extremely insensitive and heartless on those people's part. I can't even imagine.
The thing is the situation is, on the one hand, incredibly complicated, because you're right, you are dealing with the emotions of the mother who had to go through the trauma the first time, then they carry the baby to term, they either keep it and then possibly relive the situation through that, or they give it away for adoption, but they've carried it to term. So I don't want to be like the senator and just be crass and uncaring and say, well, I don't care. But on the other hand, we're dealing with murder. We're dealing with the end of a life that has already begun. And the question is that warranted just to preserve the feeling of someone who's been through a trauma? And I say the answer to that is decisively no.
Let me interject here, John, too. Something I want to be very clear with. I don't think the penalty for rape is nearly strict enough.
No, I agree.
The Bible says a death.
Yeah, I'm okay with the death sentence.
Yeah. Even if not, I'd be okay with the death sentence too. But at least, I'd be okay, less than that. I'd be okay with castration.
Yeah.
How does that make it right? How can you oppose abortion and
because I can't justify murder because
how can you justify a death penalty?
Perfect.
There we go. Good question.
We're going to segue into this then.
Yes. Because we're dealing with a guilty party versus an innocent party. One is meting out justice to a guilty party. One is ending the life of an innocent party.
Yeah. To add on to taking the death penalty is punishing someone for their knowledge of wrongdoing they chose to do wrong in the event of an abortion. It's murdering an innocent baby.
If that person is, say the rapist was brought up by, say, horrific parents who never installed good morals, and it was a horrific act, and all this person has lived as a life of crime, it's right to kill that person because he did wrong to another person?
But see, that victimizes the criminal.
Yeah, here's the thing. First of all, we're coming from a different presupposition than you maybe. We believe morals come from God, and they are internalized by God into each person's heart. So even though somebody has a bad circumstance growing up, there's a general knowledge of right and wrong, and I think rape would be well within that curtain there of things that they would know is wrong.
I think it would depend completely on your upbringing. You can go through.
How so?
I think you could.
We've got four different people that are brought up four different ways here, and not one of us think rape is okay.
Yeah, and the thing is
I'm not saying rape is okay. I just don't understand your stance on how you can think abortion is wrong, but the death penalty is right.
Because God defines what's right and wrong, and
So
God tells us that He gave people knowledge of right and wrong in their heart. It's why we have morals.
Well, let me ask you a question. I'm sorry for interrupting.
If you've never been exposed to God, how would you know that?
The thing is, everyone's been exposed to God. Romans 1:18-32, for all men know, but they suppress the truth in their unrighteousness. It's an intrinsic knowledge brought about by the general revelation. That's another way of saying the creation. It reveals God, but it doesn't reveal Him savingly. They suppress that truth and they run from it, and that's why we have all these false religions. That's why we look to science like a religion. Now, I'm not opposed to science, but we treat science like a religion.
Andrea, basically every person born, whether they're born in a jungle, born in America, born in Europe, every person born will know that there is a God out there, and they will know the difference between right and wrong. But will they know that He is the creator of the universe? That's a different story.
And
I don't even agree with that side.
Yeah.
I'll go with you up to that point.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just don't. That probably goes out far beyond.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Where do you want to go? What?
How do you account for morality? I mean, what do you base it on? What do you define? How do you come to the definition of it? What objective criteria do you have to say that rape is wrong?
But if that comes back to you, and you saying if you rape, then you should be subject to the death penalty.
Okay, but how do you say that rape is wrong?
Where do we develop our morals at?
That's the question I'm asking you.
Yes.
I believe we would develop them from our upbringing.
Well, if we develop them from our upbringing, people have different upbringings, and that would make morality relative. And if morality is relative, if you don't have an objective standard that you can point to and say, this is the objective standard, thus saith X, then the most you can do in that worldview, if you're going to be consistent with the worldview, is say, it's not my bag, baby. It's not my cup of tea. I can't say it's wrong.
Yeah,
I can
rape's
say,
wrong for me, but maybe not for you.
And if that's the case, then why are we concerned about the person raping the person? I mean, that's the way they were raised. That's right for them. Why is it a crime?
I'm not condoning that. By any get that straight. I'm not condoning it.
No, you're not condoning it. But how do you account for not being able to condone it?
Because we live in a society that is deemed that is.
Let's take that. So we live in a society that's deemed that is wrong. What does a person's upbringing then have to do to contradict society? Why would that matter? If society says it's wrong, then how can I still not call them guilty, regardless of their upbringing?
You could call them guilty. You just can't kill them.
Why not?
Why not?
Why?
Well, but we asked you first.
Why? Because they're guilty of causing a woman insurmountable emotional and physical damage. And I believe women are things that God created specifically for men to enjoy, and not in such a way, but to be partners with, to love and care for. And I care for women, and I love my wife. And if somebody raped them, I would want them dead. I care for.
I still go back to I don't understand where you can be opposed to abortion and not be opposed to the death penalty.
Because God says it's okay to kill people.
Because if rape,
God gives capital punishment to the state, and I'll look it up while John's talking.
Okay, and actually, I'm taking the conversation back a few steps because I never really got a really great answer from you on this.
I don't think I have a really great answer about the whole morality. I think it's how you. I think it completely plays into who you are in your soul, and who you are as a person, and all your extrinsic factors that molded you into the person that you are. But I'm also saying, if you were never taught right from wrong, if you grew up in horrible situations and were exposed to extreme violence and extreme pain all the time, I don't know that you could go out and do right in the world.
Let's role play for just a second. Why? We're pretending that I believe it's okay to rape. Why should it not be okay? And you're telling me it's not okay to rape. Why?
Because it's a victimization of another person.
Why is that a problem?
Because it hurts another person.
Why is that a problem?
Because that's a silly question.
Because it's wrong. It is a silly question, but the answer is because it's wrong.
No. I'm trying to get to the point where we can demonstrate that she doesn't have an objective criteria for saying something is right and wrong.
Do you see, if, let's say, Andrea, I was raised in a society where rape is okay, and you're raised in a society in the United States where it's not okay. So who are you to say that it's not okay for me because I'm in a society that it's not okay, or that it is okay? Do you see what I'm saying?
And there are societies that believe rape is, okay, or it's not punishable. I mean, there are other countries that
in some Muslim countries,
women is not,
in some Muslim countries, there's actually a phrase. There's actually a Muslim saying that says women are for children and boys are for pleasure. That's out there.
So who are we to say that it's not okay for them? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. But so who are we to judge to give them the death penalty?
The thing is we're not being the judge. We're bowing to the objective standard that definitively says, "Thus saith the Lord." We're not standing as arbiters over what's right and wrong. We're bowing the knee to the Bible, which says what is right and wrong. The Bible says that all men know the truth. They suppress it in their unrighteousness. They run from it. It's revealed in nature, which is why overwhelmingly, and of course you find exceptions, but overwhelmingly there's a consistency in the major rights and wrongs across society. How can you account for that except for a general revelation deal? The difference between us and you is not that we're moral and you're not. It's that we have a rubric and a way to account for it. Because based on with your worldview, the best you can say is, I don't think it's right. I don't like it. I don't prefer it, and I wish people wouldn't do it. At which point, my reply, and I'm back to role playing. My reply would be, "Hey, don't you impose your morality on me."
Hey, I have a question for you, Mr. Wadsworth.
Sure, Mr.
Who
Silverman.
created rape?
Well,
it's a sin.
It's a consequence of the fall.
Of what?
The fall of man.
The fall of man, the fall into sin, which manifested itself.
Created man.
God created man.
So could you say that he also created rape then?
No, he created man sinless. He put them in the garden. They took the fruit. Their entire nature was corrupted at that point, and then they began to invent for themselves all kinds of evil.
They chose to do unrighteousness. So it's this, put in this logic, okay, man has a choice of free will, so they choose to do good or evil, right or wrong. So you can't blame God because God created it. And another example is Henry Ford created the automobile, but he can't be blamed for all the auto accidents because man chose to get in that auto accident. So you can't blame the creator for the problem just because he created the item. So saying God created us, we can't blame God for rape. It's us who choose to do the rape.
Okay. That was just a question I had from one of the
listeners.
Excuse me, one of the
a particular listener?
Yes, a particular listener that
Okay,
I didn't have the answer for.
So Andrea, to get back to what you and John were talking about, our opinion really doesn't matter because we're taking the stand of what God has told us is right and wrong. So it's not because we dreamt it up that it's saying you can kill somebody for raping somebody. It's because the Bible has told us that it is punishable by death.
And here's where it tells us this in Deuteronomy, in Deuteronomy 22, verses 25 through 27, it looks like. But if in an open country a man meets a young woman who is betrothed, and the man seizes her and lies with her, then only the man who lay with her shall die. But nothing shall... sorry, I'm having a hard time talking today. But you shall do nothing to the young woman. She has committed no offense punishable by death. For this case is like that of a man attracting and murdering his neighbor, because he met her in the open country, and though she betrothed, the young man cried for help, and there was no one to rescue her. So God's saying right there that death is the sentence for that. And then in Romans, it tells us that the authorities or the governors he's put above us here, and this is Romans 13, 1 through 4, let every soul be subject to the governing authorities. There is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whomever resists the authorities resists the ordinance of God, and those who resist will bring judgment upon themselves.
But there's a caveat with that too. Did I interrupt you?
Yeah, you completely interrupted me.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
No. I don't want to interrupt the word of God.
For the rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do you want to be afraid of an authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same, for he is God's minister to you for good. But if you do evil, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain, for he is God's minister, an avenger to execute wrath on him who practices evil. So this is where we get permission for the state, not for individuals. I could not avenge a rapist by killing them and be blameless in front of God.
It doesn't condone vigilante justice. And then also there's an caveat to that. To back off that, Acts 4, I believe, when John and Peter were dragged before the council and told not to preach in that name again, and they said, is it right for us to obey man or God? And they went ahead and disobeyed the authorities because they were obeying God. The principle there is God puts the government there, gives us the government, and we are to obey them in every way that we can without it forcing us to disobey God. God's the big authority, and they're the small authority, and we listen to the small authority every time it doesn't contradict the big authority.
And the authority that's been given to them is the power of the sword to the state for capital crimes, which rape is a capital crime in my book.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, and and I'm not just going to go down the list of all the Leviticus and Deuteronomy laws and say, oh, I still think all those stand. But this is one I don't see any objection to.
Well, you
But
go ahead.
and I'm not nearly